I want you to listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you could change the way you think about success, about life, and about the way you spend your time. 40 years ago, I thought I knew everything. I thought success was measured in money, in titles, in the size of my office, in the private jet I flew across the country, in the vacations I never took but always dreamed about. I thought that if I just worked hard enough, if I just pushed myself past exhaustion, if I just sacrificed a little more, then one day everything would fall into place. But I was wrong, dead wrong, and I learned it the hardest way possible. My name is David. I built a company worth $200 million. I had what everyone calls a perfect life, but here's the truth. I was alone, and by the time I realized it, the most important things, my family, my love, my presence, were gone, lost in the hours and days I gave to something that would never love me back. I want you to hear this story because if you're grinding away, telling yourself just a few more years, I was you, and I need you to know you're making the same mistake I made, and it will cost more than you're willing to pay. It starts in 1978. I was 30 years old, filled with energy, ambition, and a stubborn belief that I could prove everyone wrong. I had just married Sarah. She was brilliant, patient, kind, and she believed in me even when no one else did. I started my business from scratch, working endless hours, 80, 90 hours a week. I told myself I was building our future. I told myself I was creating something worth living for. Sarah said, "It's okay. We're building our future." And I believed her. I really did. I genuinely thought that one day all the sacrifices would be worth it. I told myself that I was planting seeds that would one day blossom into a life of ease, comfort, and happiness. I told myself that missing dinners, birthdays, anniversaries, the small moments that make life sweet, didn't matter because the payoff would be monumental. And for 20 years I lived that lie. Then in 1983, Emma was born, my daughter, my pride, my joy. She came into this world while I was stuck in a board meeting. I remember rushing in, but I missed the first moments, the ones no one can ever get back. I promised myself I'd be there for everything from then on, but life, ambition, deadlines, deals, meetings, they always seemed to come first. Her first steps, her first day of school, her soccer games, her birthdays, her graduation, I missed them all. I was present in body but absent in soul. I thought the work I was doing justified it, but deep down, I knew it was a choice, and I chose everything but my family. I still remember a day that haunts me to this day. Emma was about 7. She came into my office with a drawing she'd made, her little face glowing, eyes wide with excitement. She wanted to show me something she was proud of. I held up one finger, "Just a minute," and turned back to a conference call. She stood there for 30 seconds, then walked away. Years later, I found the drawing tucked in a drawer. At the bottom, written in her childish handwriting, were the words, "I love you, Daddy, even though you're always busy." 7 years old. 7 years old, and she already knew I was choosing work over her. That memory is etched into me. It's permanent. And by the time I realized the cost, it was too late. By 1995, the company was worth $50 million. We moved into a mansion. We took our first real vacation in over a decade, a trip to Hawaii. I thought, see, it was worth it. All the late nights, all the sacrifices, all the missed moments, it will pay off. But by then, things had already shifted. Sarah had built a life without me. She had friends, interests, work, charity, her own world that didn't revolve around me. Emma was 13. She barely spoke to me. I had become a stranger in my own home. I told myself it was a phase. Once Emma went to college, we'd reconnect. That magic then I kept waiting for. That illusion that everything would be perfect one day. I chased it like a mirage in the desert. In 2001, Emma went off to Stanford. My heart swelled with pride. But when I dropped her off, she hugged Sarah for 5 minutes. Me, 5 seconds. Mechanical. Obligatory. And then Sarah asked for a divorce. 23 years of marriage, and she was done waiting. She had been alone in our marriage for 2 decades. I couldn't argue. She was right. I had been married to my company, not to her. I had put everything into something that could never return my love. And then I did what I always did. I threw myself into work harder. The company grew to $200 million. I was on the cover of Forbes. People asked me how I did it. I never told them. The truth was too bitter. I did it by sacrificing everything that mattered. 2009, I had a heart attack. 61 years old, working late, alone, in my office when my chest tightened, when my breath became shallow. I drove myself to the hospital. There was nobody to call. No Sarah. No Emma. My assistant found out the next day when I didn't show up for a meeting. Lying there, hooked up to machines, I had a moment of absolute clarity. What was it all for? Who was I building this empire for? Not Sarah, not Emma, not myself, because my ego doesn't count. The finish line kept moving, the ladder never ended, and all I had done was exhaust myself while my family waited in silence for a man who wasn't there. I sold the company in 2012, a huge payout, enough money to live a dozen lifetimes, and then what? 64 years old, rich beyond measure, with nobody to spend it with, no one who really needed me, no one whose heart I could touch with my presence. I tried to reconnect with Emma, called her every week, flew to New York, but you can't make up lost time. You can't relive the moments that matter. Soccer games, school plays, birthdays, they're gone forever. Now, we have lunch sometimes, we talk on the phone, but the closeness we should have never returned. She's polite, she's civil, but she doesn't know me as a father. She knows me as a man who provided, who existed, who showed up for the obligatory moments. That wedding 3 years ago, walking her down the aisle, she thanked me for coming, and that's it. She spoke of Sarah, she spoke of her mother, who had been there for everything, who had built memories, who had shaped her life. I wept in my hotel room that night. I cried for the first time in decades, because I had lost it all. Here's what I learned, painfully, brutally, unavoidably. Success without presence is failure. Money without connection is loneliness. Achievement without love is meaningless. You can build empires, but you can't buy back moments. You can't reclaim the evenings, the laughter, the joy of watching your child grow, of holding your spouse's hand, of sitting with your parents while they still remember your face. You can't get back what you never prioritized. And I see it happening everywhere. Young men, ambitious, brilliant, talented, working 70, 80-hour weeks, missing birthdays, dinners, milestones, believing the lie that sacrifice now equals happiness later. They think they're different. They think their situation is unique. They think their family can wait. But the truth is, we're all the same. The finish line keeps moving. Life does not pause. Children grow up, marriages wither, parents age, and one day, without warning, you'll wake up and realize that the world you built for yourself is empty, and the world you ignored is gone. If I could speak to my 30-year-old self, I would say, leave at 5 o'clock. That meeting can wait, that email can wait, but your daughter's first soccer game won't wait. Her school play won't wait. Her laughter, her curiosity, her small hands, these are fleeting, irretrievable, sacred. Be present. Be there. Discipline, consistency, ambition, hard work. They all matter, but they cannot replace presence. They cannot replace love. They cannot replace the simple, small, perfect moments that make a life worth living. Work will always exist. Deals will always appear. Opportunities will always knock. But time is finite. It does not negotiate. It does not forgive, and it will run out for you whether you're ready or not. I have money beyond measure. I have investments, properties, a retirement fund that could support 10 families. But I would trade it all for one more day with Emma when she was 7, for one more evening with Sarah before I pushed her away, for one more moment when I could have been fully, entirely, gloriously present. That's the true currency. That's the true measure of life. Nobody at my company remembers me. I sold it. New management replaced me. Deals I worked tirelessly on, forgotten. Achievements I sweated blood over. Footnotes in old magazines. But Emma remembers. Every birthday I missed. Every promise I broke. Every night I chose work over her. Those memories are permanent. Those memories shape lives. And I cannot undo them. I cannot rewind. I cannot retrieve what I threw away for illusions of success. Now at 76, I live alone. Condo by the beach. Time stretches endlessly. I read, I travel, I volunteer. But mostly, I think about what could have been. I think about the truth I learned too late, that success is not measured in money, power, or accolades. Success is measured in relationships, in presence, in love, in the choice to show up when it matters, not when it's convenient. If you're watching this working late, telling yourself just one more report, stop, close your laptop, go home, sit with your kids, watch their shows, play their games, talk to your spouse, laugh, cry, be present. 20 years from now, you won't remember the spreadsheet. You won't remember the deal. You will remember whether you were there for the moments that mattered. And don't tell yourself, I'm different. We are not different. Every ambitious man falls into this trap. Every person thinks they have more time. They don't. Time moves relentlessly, unforgivingly, silently ticking away every second you waste. Learn from me. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Don't tell yourself tomorrow is the day you'll be there. Be there today. Be there now. Because one day you will wake up older than you feel and realize that the moments you let slip through your fingers will never return. And no amount of money, no achievement, no title, no empire will ever fill that void. I learned the hardest lesson of my life 40 years too late. Learn it now. Go home. Be present. Choose love. Choose family. Choose the moments that cannot be reclaimed. Because at the end of your life, nobody will remember your office, your private jet, your fortune. But they will remember whether you were there, whether you loved fully, whether you lived intentionally. And if you ignore that, if you wait, if you choose ambition over presence, you will end up like me, alone, rich, accomplished, and full of regret. So I'm telling you, with every ounce of my being, close this device. Go to the people who matter. Listen, laugh, cry, hold hands, be present, love, choose connection. It is the truest, purest, most valuable success there is. The rest is fleeting, irrelevant, meaningless. And if this story makes you uncomfortable, good. Let it burn in you. Let it move you. Let it change you. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Be there now. Be present now. Because the time you have with the people you love is the only thing that truly counts, the only thing that lasts, the only thing worth anything at all.